Hey there, this is going to be a quick introduction video on how to draw abstract art for beginners. And without further ado, let's get into this. So for the first things you're going to just need 2 writing utensils. Those can be anything from pens, pencils, it doesn't matter. I have 2 pens that I prefer to use, but if all you have available is 2 pencils, that's fine too. So the first thing that you're going to want to do when it comes to abstract art, man, is you want to really take into perspective that this is very open-ended. You know, you don't have to be Picasso. You don't have to be any of the Renaissance painters. You can be yourself and you can embrace everything that you do. Like what makes your style unique. If you don't have a style, that's okay too. And you can kind of just build upon it with just some basic geometrical shapes. All you really need to know how to draw are triangles, circles, squares, and lines. With this formula right here, you're able to go about making as much abstract art as you may need. You could really build upon it too if you want to start adding dimensions and color, but that's a little bit later down the line, so you don't want to overwhelm yourself with that. So the first thing that I want you guys to do is just draw a square. We're going to keep this simple and light and easy to follow. This is a beginner tutorial after all. The way that I'm going to go about this video today is I'm going to just go about drawing a bunch of geometrical shapes until it all eventually comes together. This is going to be completely free-handed and a freestyle. So you can follow me or you can do what I do and kind of just mix it up on your own if you feel it necessary. So I'm going to draw a circle and just give it some lines. To add some contrast. Contrast being what makes the drawing itself less flat. You have an alternating design going on here. The most important aspect to making abstract art is just getting into the flow of creating. If you don't like what you're making, that's okay too. Getting into that flow state of creating is in my opinion, the most important thing that you can know how to do. And that goes beyond abstract art. That goes beyond just creating things in general. Right now, I'm just going through and I'm just adding lines to the shapes that we went ahead and drew. I'm going to draw a triangle at the end of this little formation we're making. Give it a jagged edge. I'm going to just go through over it again and add an overarching inner shape that's the exact same as the one we just drew. Now that that's done, I'm going to go through with our black pen and I'm going to just draw a square inside of this one square that we already made. I'm just kind of adding to the depth of this drawing we're working on. That way it looks cooler to look at. What I find so cool about this too is when you get into the habit of drawing these abstract drawings is you can kind of get a feel for the way that it's going to come out, but you can honestly end up making some designs that really wow you, you know. You can make something you didn't really expect to make. It's kind of like you get into that flow state of creation and it's kind of like you might surprise yourself, you know. But if you haven't gotten to that state or you're still very new, that's okay too. You honestly really need to learn how to walk before you can run. And starting off with just simple basics of lines and shapes. That's all this really is lines and shapes. I mean, yeah, you factor in positioning and lighting and all that, but like I said earlier, I don't want you guys focusing on those things. This is just a laid back, simple, entry-level video to making abstract art. Right now, I'm just going through and just adding more shapes to what we already drew. And add some inner lines of this blue that I switched back to. I hope you guys are following me and feel free to rewind anything too if you happen to miss a step. Right now, I'm just kind of free-handed a bunch of shapes together until ultimately we end up making something that's cool to look at. This is something serious, but I want this to still be lighthearted and just easy to follow. If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave them down in the comments too. Right now, I'm drawing lines. They aren't necessarily symmetrical in the sense of you think they would be horizontal or something like that. I'm just kind of free-handed a bunch of lines. You kind of get a feel for this too the more that you do it. You'll go ahead and end up getting your own distinct style. So I'm gonna just go through and just add some more things. And like I said, man, I don't want you guys to overthink the dimensions, and if whatever you're drawing, it doesn't look exactly like mine, that's fine too. Art is supposed to be what's unique to yourself. You don't want to make something that's typical, but at the same time, you want to make something that's you. Learning the ropes and learning the foundation is cool. It's cool until you kind of get your own distinct feel for the way that everything works together. We're just drawing shapes. I mean, this is grade school stuff. I don't want you guys to overthink the designs. Just kind of bear with me. I'm gonna go through and add some straight lines. I'm gonna also go ahead and add some lines across this original square that we drew too. And you may be wondering, why am I doing this? The thing about this is you want to just, if you see too much empty space, you want to try to fill it, but you don't want to fill it to the point to where it's not as good to look at or it's not as cool. You want to follow your own eye. You can kind of get a feel for everything once you do this enough. My rule of thumb typically is you want to find that perfect middle ground where you're not overdoing it with designs to where it's uncomfortable to look at, but it's just enough designs to where it's like pleasing to see, but it's easy to kind of comprehend everything that's going on. You don't want to overwhelm your viewer, you know. Like, this is still very lighthearted, but I'm just alternating between the black and the blue. And if you don't want to use those colors, you can use whatever colors you want. You could use really whatever utensils you want. I just grab pens because pens are something that most people have access to, you know. This shape here on the end is a little bit less geometrical, but it's kind of like a 3 that's big. So I'm just going to go through and just draw smaller 3s until it looks wavy. I'm not going overboard with the designing either, because like I said, man, I want to keep this lighthearted. If you made it this far in the video, it would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe and hit the like button. If I happen to confuse any of y'all, feel free to go back, rewind, rewatch, slow down. Because I think it's pivotal to kind of get to this state where people can really tap into this. Because I think that making abstract art is a very unique thing to be able to do. You can really make something your own. And you can really make something unique to yourself. Following the rules in place to things such as traditional art making is cool and all. But I think that it's also cool to break away and just kind of do your own thing with it. Because like I said, you can really branch off and make something that's entirely unique to yourself. You don't have to necessarily follow the status quo. You could just kind of do your own and just see what happens. It's often not the people that follow the exact same rule book as everybody else. Like, the greatest artists that we remember are typically those that were willing to push the boundaries of this stuff, you know? I'm going to finish this last little overarching triangular shape type of thing, but I'm going to leave it at this. If you made it this far in the video, congratulations. You made some abstract art with me. Hopefully it was simple and lighthearted. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and I appreciate you all tuning in. Until next time.